Good morning and rise and shine and welcome to Live at 6:05. I am Dr. Amy Nussbaum. Welcome to Friday. I don't know about you, but it has been a week and I'm so glad that that we have reached Friday. So this morning we are talking about something that many of us walk through at one point or another in our lives, and that is emotional recovery after burnout or crisis. Maybe you've been through a season of high stress at work, or maybe you've experienced a loss in this season of life, or maybe you just felt like you took on more than you can really give. Burnout and crisis don't just drain our energy, they can leave us feeling like a shell of ourselves, like we are disconnected from our joy, from our purpose, and even from the people that we love. But here's the truth. Recovery is possible from that burnout and that space in crisis. First, we need to acknowledge what burnout or crisis does to us. It affects not only our minds, but also our bodies and our spirits. Left unaddressed, it can lead to chronic exhaustion. I don't know about you, but when I am mentally exhausted, that is way more intense than when I am physically exhausted. And that chronic exhaustion just never goes away. But also, strained relationships can happen. Maybe things are more challenging at home, things are harder to keep civil at work. Um, Family, it's just we don't have any desire to go out with friends. It just really strains our relationships. And sometimes it can lead to a loss of confidence. We just don't have the energy. We just don't have the drive. We just don't have that um, desire to keep going. So we lose our confidence in that. And it can even cause physical illness when we are more stressed out, when we are more burned out. Our body is just less resilient, and it's easier for us to get sick. And that can definitely take its toll as well. So if we don't take time to recover, we risk repeating the same cycles over and over and building our lives on empty instead of being full of the things that fill us up. So give yourself permission to pause. Healing begins when we allow ourselves time to stop striving, and to start resting. That means creating margin in your day, allowing yourself time to rest, allowing yourself time to relax. Maybe that's going for a walk. Maybe that's sitting down and reading a book. Maybe that's spending some time in prayer. Maybe spending some time listening to worship music. But, let yourself say no to some things without having guilt about it, and just allow your nervous system to rest and recover. Rest is not laziness. And I think that's something our culture really encourages, that if we don't have time to rest, I'll rest when I die. But that's not true. Rest is rebuilding. It's kind of like when we're working out at the gym and we break down our muscle, and then our muscle needs time to rest and rebuild, and that's how we get stronger. And that's exactly the same thing when it comes to burnout, when it comes to that chronic stress. We need time to rest, to allow ourselves to build back up so that we are our best selves, not just for ourselves, but for those around us. And we need to rebuild with intention. Recovery isn't just about stopping, it's about slowly putting pieces back in place. What does bring you peace? Start doing those things. What does energize you in a healthy way? We often start to adopt things that aren't healthy. Maybe we eat things we shouldn't. Maybe we drink things we shouldn't. And those are not healthy ways to cope. We need to think about, what are those healthy ways? Maybe it is getting to the gym once or twice a week, or getting outside and walking, in this beautiful fall weather. But what energizes you in a healthy way? Add that to your schedule. And then, who are the safe people that you can lean on right now? Who should you go out to coffee with? Who should you call and just have a long chat on the phone? Actually have a conversation, not just texting. Maybe that is journaling. Maybe it's prayer. It could be going into seeing a counselor or even a support group, reconnecting with a passion that reminds you of who you are. So, what happens if we don't address this? If we keep pushing and we ignore our needs to recover, we risk living in survival mode for the rest of our lives. We risk becoming bitter instead of better, because we just start to resent things and we start to resent people, and we start numbing with those unhealthy coping strategies. Um, yeah, those, we know what those are. So, and then also losing sight of our God-given purpose. We start to not do what we are called to do instead of being in that space of our calling, in that space of our purpose. And that is where we really um, thrive, and where we really build ourselves up and fill our tank. But when we make recovery a priority, we not only heal, we rebuild stronger, just like our muscle does. And we are also wiser than before because we realize what needs to happen. So today I want to encourage you, take one step towards recovery when it comes to your burnout and your chronic stress. Maybe that's scheduling rest into your calendar. Maybe it's reaching out to a trusted friend or counselor. Maybe it's simply giving yourself permission to say, I don't have to be okay right now, but I am moving towards healing. Remember, your burnout or crisis does not define you. It's part of your story, but it's not the end of your story. So if you're walking through this and want support in rebuilding your life with clarity and purpose, I would love to come alongside you. Reach out, let's chat. I'd be honored to walk this journey with you with coaching. So, with that, you guys have a great weekend. I look forward to seeing you again on Monday. But until then, remember, you are made for more. So go light up this world with your purpose and with your